again with another video, and today we're going to review another Berserk chapter, chapter 359, and what a journey it has been. It's been such a long journey, finally seeing Casca healed and not being a fucking retard, and finally seeing her stop being an ungrateful bitch. Guts went through all these troubles for her, all these links to protect her. He sacrificed his body, his life, his soul, his sense of taste, his ability to see colors. His body's banged up because of her, so it's about damn time she regains her sanity and shows some gratitude. And as we can see here in the first page, the Elf Queen gives Casca a makeover, and I actually really like this makeover compared to the other lovey-dovey makeover she got, the cutesy one. She actually looks like a warrior now, like she used to be. But I do have to say, the difference in the art style is very jarring. I used to defend the new art style. I used to say it wasn't that bad. Berserk still had great art style, but now I'm gonna have to say, yeah, it's really different. Like, she looks like a Moe character. She looks like one of those characters in a shitty light novel, like harem isekai adaptation. She looks way too cute. Go back and read the Golden Age arc. Now that's how Casca really is supposed to be drawn. She looks more raw. She was more dark. She was just simply better. That's how Casca is supposed to be drawn. Right now, she's just too cutesy. She's too moe. But still, I do have to say, even though the art style is different, it's still very good. It's still, there's a lot of detail in the backgrounds. There's a lot of details in the faces. There's a lot of details in the armor and in the weapons. But still, the art style is different, and I do take offense to that. But still, it's still good, and it is what it is. And I love Berserk for the story. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. And also, it's really funny to see Casca saying, "You're making it awkward, don't stare." It's such a change from the shameless days of retard Casca, aka Elaine, where they used to shower, she used to just run around naked, embarrassing herself. So I'm glad to see her finally regaining her femininity. And as we go on, and as she talks more to Ishidro and Sukiko and Farnese and Shirkei and the gang, Ishidro gets nostalgic. He speaks about all the events that took place in her getting to Alfheim. And it's not just a nostalgic trip for the characters, it's a nostalgic trip for us readers too. It's been more than 21 years, yeah, like 21 freaking years since, Guts took on this journey to finally get to Casca to Elfheim. So yeah, like him talking about all the stuff they went through, from all the way to, Guts, facing off against all the Holy Knights, to him fighting Gani's Guts, and him getting the Berserker armor. It's to him fighting like the dragon Absol that that serves Griffith. It's really was quite a journey. And me myself, I started catching some feels thinking about all the times I read Berserk and how long I've read it throughout the years. And also we get one of the most cathartic moments in the series, the moments that I expected that was going to happen. It's where Casca, when she regains her sanity, she came and she tanked Farnese all the things she's done for her. Of course, Casca would not be alive right now, it wasn't Farnese. But of course, as Farnese points out, Farnese herself would be alive without Casca, because as we all know, Farnese grew up very privileged, she grew up very rich, so she always felt useless. She couldn't really do anything for anybody. So in order to get the confidence as a person, as a warrior, as a musician, in order to get the confidence to ask Shirkei to train her to become a musician, to become the interesting character that she is right now, she needs somebody that can depend on her, that would make her feel useful, and Casca played that role. So yeah, it's very cathartic, and it's very nice that we got the scene. And finally, we get a proof that Casca still retained her fighting capability. We didn't just forget it when she turned into retard mode, and we get a bunch of Vikings. And yes, as we can see from the page, it is confirmed Vikings exist in the Berserk universe. Even, it's not really a long shot, as Alfheim itself is a Nordic myth. So yeah, Vikings existing and coming to Alfheim. It's not that long of a stretch. Although this kind of confirmed the theory to the Berserk YouTuber that tried to make it an approximate prediction on how and what the Berserk map looked like, and he said that it existed in Western Europe. He predicted that the Berserk map is like our own, is like the real world map. And he likes also the Kushan being an empire that existed in the North India, Pakistan area. Just like the real Kushan Empire that came from the Greco-Bactrian Empire, that itself came from the days of Alexander the Great. So that's it. Again, it really confirms that the Berserk mythos really is close to our own in a lot of ways. It's not some world that's completely foreign to our world, you know, like Middle Earth is, like where the that's different. Anyway, as Casca fights the Viking, the mummified Vikings, she destroys them, she fucks them up, she completely beats them. And also, I'm gonna have to complain about the art style again. As you can see, when Casca is fighting the Vikings, the art style, she looks way too cute. She looks way too hot for this to be a battle. I mean, again, just go read the Golden Age art. Just go, you know, see and read the pages of Casca fights. She looks a lot more raw. She looks a lot more brutal than she is now. And that's one of the main things that, you know, a lot of people love about Berserk is the rawness, is the brutal nature of the fights. It felt really real. Now it kind of looks too pretty. You know, of course when Guts is fighting, even in the new art style, it still looks fucking awesome with Berserk armor. But still, yeah, this is a slight criticism I have in this chapter with the new art style in general. But still, even though it's different, it's still good. And I guess we're gonna eventually get used to it. So everybody is surprised of how good of a fighter Casca is, and apparently Ishidro found a new training partner. And as Shurkei and Farnese go to try to get Guts to talk to Casca, I'm reminded of something. I'm reminded of the time when Farnese and Shurkei, you know, entered Casca's psyche to try to, you know, get her to be sane again. And then when they saw the memory of my boy Guts smashing Casca, they got really jealous because, as we both know, Shurkei and Farnese both have somewhat of a crush on Guts, because why wouldn't they? Guts is my boy. It's fucking Casca. Every girl's got a crush on him. So it's really funny seeing them trying to get him to talk to Casca, because we know deep down it's kind of bittersweet because they both like Guts too. So yeah, and deep down they kind of wish, you know, he would develop more of a relationship with her. As they try to get Guts to talk to her, actually Casca herself approaches, and the way she talks is very interesting. First she says, Guts, can you listen from over there? So she knows that there's a reason why Guts can't face her. Now, what is this reason? Now later on, she remembers the eclipse and she faints. She has PTSD and she faints, so it can't be the eclipse. Does Casca maybe remember the time where Guts got possessed by the jackal spirit and he, you know, tried to rape her and he bit her in the breast? Because that was like the main trigger that caused Casca to become an ungrateful bitch and always be mean towards Guts. Did she remember that? Or perhaps she actually remembered the eclipse. We don't know. I don't think she remembered the eclipse, because as soon as she remembered it, she fell on the ground. So it's very interesting. She remembered the way Guts was when he was, you know, possessed by the jackal spirit. Will she hold it against him? Will she remember all the great things, all the great times they had? What does Casca think? Like, yeah, I wonder to see what she thinks in the, you know, following chapters. And then she starts stalking, and you know, she commends Guts for, you know, getting all these friends. But as soon as she remembers the eclipse, she remembers Judo, she gets PTSD, she falls down, and yeah, she pretty much collapses. And when Guts sees her, he just screams, he just, you know, falls like in pain. Just look at my boy Guts' face right here. And you know, this says a lot, because Guts is a man who faced so much stuff. He's faced monsters, demons, he's been tortured, you know, he's even been raped, he's faced so much shit. And seeing his lover Casca being tortured like that, being, you know, in shock like that, it still hurts him. It makes him even, you know, almost cry. A tough man like us. So yeah, it really shows how much he loves Casca. And then the last page, we get our boy Skull Knight. What will he say? Why is he here? And most importantly, what will Guts do now? I mean, his goal for like 21 years in real life world, and for a long time in the manga world, was to try and get Casca to Alfheim. That was the story. Now she's here. Now what? He hinted before that he wants to kill Griffith. You know, take revenge on what he did to the Van the Hawk. Will he do that? And of course, as we all know, Alfheim is filled with magicians. Griffith hates magicians because, you know, they threaten his monopoly on power and Midland, pretty much the whole world. So definitely in the future he will, you know, attack Alfheim. And so sooner or later, you know, Casca will be attacked. So Gus will either be proactive about it and attack Griffith first, or he's going to be reactive and defend Alfheim, and also by extension defend Casca. So what will he do? And when he does fight them, how will he fight them? Because he's like, he can't beat Griffith. I mean, Guts with the Berserker armor, I would say he's on the level of a high Absol commander. And there's like dozens of high Absol commanders in Griffith's disposal. And so yeah, like 1v1 between God Hand Griffith and Guts, yeah, Griffith would destroy him. And this is just one God Hand. So what will he do? Will he, you know, use the Belly to make a deal with other God Hands? Because as far as we know, every God Hand is individualistic, it's selfish. The God Hands don't exactly work together. Maybe that will happen and maybe he'll get a power up. Like Berserk isn't really known for pass balls, so again, I can't wait to see how Kentaro Miura will write this and how Guts will actually defeat him. So yeah, that's it. That's the review. At the end of the chapter, it says to be continued. Will it be continued next month? Will it be continued in the next 10 years? We don't know. As usual, being a Berserk fan is fucking suffering. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's the review. Like the video if you did, and subscribe for more videos.